seem to be on your side right now. So you just said you're nervous. Don't be
I'm a little
nervous.
nervous,
Don't
so-
be nervous. Well, you know, it's wow.
Wow.
You've been through a lot.
I have.
And now, you know, there are people who say you go on television, you try to find love on television, you have to kind of accept that whatever happens, it's TV and it's going to happen on TV. Did you believe a part of that?
I have to.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I look and I go, I signed up for this. I knew the premise of the show. This was not the first season by far.
Right.
I know everything is played out on TV, but it feels so different when you're in it. And honestly, when you're involved, you go through those feelings of, it's not fair that everybody gets to see
Remove his hair because I know it's
I
crowded.
feel it.
Yeah, here.
Yes.
Go on.
Thank you.
Okay.
You know, you kind of go through those feelings of, it's not fair everybody gets to see me go through all these emotions without me getting a chance to react to them privately.
Right. And then how long were you all together before he told you he changed his mind?
You know what? Honestly, it was pretty immediate. Once we got back, we both kind of sat in the real world, and you know, we were talking about how it was different. And in all fairness, I think it is when you take the cameras away. It was just at that point when we brought up how difficult it was, he kind of gave up, and I couldn't understand why at the time. Now I do, because I think there was someone else involved.
Well, didn't you? I mean, did you? What had you had in common while there were cameras there that you suddenly didn't have in common? What happened? Do you think, besides him giving up?
Yeah.
What happened that all of a sudden you're like, we have nothing in common?
You know, it's funny. Where I am now, you know, hindsight's 20/20, and I look at the process, and I think all 25 of us will agree, the girls there, that it's a very one-sided process. The entire time, it's us throwing ourselves on him, you know, saying, please like me, always trying to think of a funny story or, you know, something interesting to say. Meanwhile, he wasn't really, you know, being interviewed by us at all. And once you get out of the process, you take that step back and go, well, wait a second, you know, what was it about him that I was actually fighting for? And, you know, it was once you start to process that thought of maybe we have a lot to work on.
Right. And so do you feel that now? Like, what was it about him? Do you see what it was about him? Do you see why you fell in love with him, or do you think it really was this fantasy world that is created for you?
I think it's a combination of both. I think you are thrust into a situation where emotions are heightened, the situations are heightened, and
alcohol?
Actually, if anybody watches, I never had an alcoholic beverage in my hand. I always had water and lime.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
So, because I didn't want anything skewing, you know, my vision.
Maybe you should have now.
Maybe, yeah. Note to self for those coming up on Bachelorette. I lost my train of thought.
Well, you're saying that it's a combination of both. It's a fantasy world. And, so have you heard from him? You said don't get in touch with me.
Yeah.
Don't, because the one thing is, you knew that he probably was going to break up with you on the air, but you didn't know Molly. And you had asked him if there was something going on, and he said to you no.
And that was where my feelings of betrayal came in. I knew, you know, I'm not after the final rose. I wasn't getting dumped. We had already ended the relationship, and that was mutual. And I had repeatedly asked him, you know, is Molly involved in anything? And when they moved up the taping of that after the final rose, I was going, well, why did we move the taping up? You know, what's going on? And I asked Jason, I said, am I going to be blindsided by anything? Is there anything you want to tell me? And he said, no, gosh, no. And the second I went out on that stage, he goes, well, P.S., it is Molly. And I went, bastard.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't blame you. I mean, you know, because that didn't have to happen on camera. That was a hurtful thing. And all right, we have to take a break. And